Tonight, the Sig MPX finally makes its way to the show. More freaking beards. Can the MPX dethrone the MP5 as the king of subguns? Find out now on the 1911 Syndicate. Subguns are quite possibly my favorite category of firearm. You won't have more fun at the range. They're fantastic home defense guns, and they're a great way to introduce new shooters into shooting a carbine. But truth be told, the list of subguns that I'm interested in is pretty small and completely Euro. This video, however, is evidence that your peer pressure works. Germany. Switzerland. If it's not a subgun from one of those two nations, why are we even talking about it? Because for years, you have been insisting that there is one gun that crushes them all, the Sig MPX. But this MPX isn't like the others. It starts off in life as a normal MPX, then it goes through a transition, at the end of which it identifies as an MPX SD from Ronin Arms. So if the sound of supersonic cracks pisses you off, you'll get along just fine with this guy. Welcome back to the show. Look at us, three amigos, hanging out again. You know, here we are.
Yeah.
Did you ever think this day would come?
No, honestly.
Me and him hanging out, yes.
Yeah, we definitely did that. But.
Yeah, I don't hang out with anyone, so this is a rarity, you know.
He had to drive from Utah to Arizona to hang out with me.
To see someone in a social setting, yeah. They don't even let me out of the house most days. We've had requests to do a video on MPXs for years.
4 years
at this point. And every time, here's the reality. Here's why we've never done it, because every time people have suggested it, and we've had folks from Patreon say like, hey, you can borrow mine, like it's all good, but like whatever. And I've always said, I don't want to do that because I'm pretty sure one day I'm going to wind up wanting one, and I would rather just wait till that day and do it on the gun that I'm going to get versus some loaner thing, and then I'm excited about it. But so we're finally doing an MPX video, except it's not a normal MPX video. We got a little of that
slightly modified,
that SD action.
Slightly.
All that SD action going on here today. So
SD and some other things.
But. Yeah. So we're going to be talking all about that. We're going to be again, you know,
science.
Again, science is going to happen out here, and that's just the way it is. You know.
Seems like all the gun YouTube channels are now going more science-based, which is interesting.
Yeah, and our science is conducted with these. How do you say that in Spanish? You live in Phoenix.
I was going to say ojos, but that's eyes, dude.
Yeah, I was going to go ojos too. Yeah, I don't know. Abre los ojos. That's open your eyes. I don't know why I know that, but I do.
Dude, if you didn't ask me, I would know.
Yeah. So anyway, we'll think of it at some point.
Spanish is no bueno right now.
But we're going to be some testing with the old ojos. I'm just going to call them ojos. You know, whatever. Who gives a shit? So Scott, why don't you've been on the MP5 video, people have met you, but for folks that might not have seen that, maybe just kind of a snapshot of, you know, who you are and what you do.
Yeah. Scott Richardson, I own Ronin Arms in Payson, Arizona. We specialize in integral suppressed weapons, mainly the MP5 SD, but we've branched out into other platforms, including the Sig MPX, making a Sig MPX SD that they should have done from the get-go.
It's strange they haven't.
They tried it. The original design of the first MPXs that I saw had a giant flash hider on them that was probably 7 or 8 inches long that looked like a baffle stack, but they didn't have a tube over it. ATF shut them down and they had to reconfigure the whole barrel on them. So they did have the idea originally of doing a possible SD variant or SD-like MPX.
Yeah, because they have that cane brake, you know,
Yeah,
to MCX, of course, but yeah.
Yeah, so they all are the look of an MP5 SD without the actual workings of it. So they've never had a version that was an actual SD version.
Yeah.
They were all just traditionally suppressed.
Yeah, and we'll get into that in a little bit here. But before we do that, we got a quick thank you to dish out. Can I tell you about something?
What's that, Jake?
Take comfortable here.
Whoa. What are you doing?
I'm going to get comfortable, everyone, because I'm going to show you this really awesome belt. And you know what I bet you got on right now? I bet you got the same freaking thing.
The same freaking
Take it off.
thing.
So we took our belts off to deliver a message. We like these things. We use them. This is not on because we're out here to talk about Ciguera. These are on because that's what I wear every day.
Yeah, every single day.
And you know what? It has the, is this the loop or the hook? I can never remember.
That's the loop.
It's got the loop. And if you get the hook component, known as the battle wagon, then you convert this into a
battle belt.
Battle belt, right?
Yep.
So then you can set up all your pouches and do all your cool guy stuff. So that's from Ciguera Gear's code 1911 Syndicate. Saves you 10% off. You got all your shit situated there.
Good to go.
And there's the Emissary. Do you have the Emissary on, or what do you got?
No, this is the inner light belt. Much like
I'm telling you, inner light for me is the winner. But Emissary also very good if you want an EDC belt that's a little bit more rigid. Suggest you check that out. Again, we got the code, we got videos, previous reviews. That's all linked below. You can check that out. Appreciate those guys. On with the video. So why don't we begin here? Why don't we elaborate actually on what you were just saying, which is the difference in what some people associate with SD versus what is an actual SD?
Actual SD would be a over-the-barrel suppressor design with a ported barrel. That was the original design of the SD, was a ported barrel. The suppressor goes over the barrel and those ports and shoulders against the rear of the barrel in order to kind of lock that suppressor into place. The same as it would on a traditional thread-on suppressor on an AR-15. Only the SD has a barrel support that supports the barrel inside of the suppressor, so you don't have any possible barrel movement during fire. But it also makes it to where you can have the most internal volume possible on a suppressor with the barrel inside of it. So you overall lengthwise, you're going to be shorter because your suppressor is over your barrel. But suppression-wise, you have so much more internal volume for those gases to expand into that it's probably 2 to 3 times the internal volume of a normal 9mm can.
Okay.
Yep.
And it allows that suppressor being over the barrel to act as the suppressor should right out the gate.
Exactly. Yeah. So you're dissipating and dumping a lot of that initial energy of that round being set off through those ports into the expansion chamber at the beginning of the suppressor, and then continuing on through the barrel support and into the baffle stack. So everything continues to move forward, sound and gas-wise, so that nothing is really nominals coming back through the ejection port and into your face. And if you're a lefty like Jake,
Very
then
important. Yeah.
you notice that way more than most people would, is that gas coming back to you and making it almost impossible to see. So mitigating that and making that as least of an issue as we possibly could was kind of the design, along with the over-the-barrel design and making it an SD platform, but keeping the gas levels down to a minimum, even with 115s and 124 full power ammo, to where everything's moving forward instead of coming back through your face.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, I mean, I guess if we look at the MPX, kind of a, 30,000 broad view of it, there's some things that it does that are, from a subgun perspective, like 1913, stocks, you go, cool. Like, this is a modern touch into subguns. Some people's subguns are irrelevant. I don't think that's the case, but, it's like there's a lot of modern touches on this. And, one thing I've never really, the MPX is a gas piston gun.
It's a short piston gas gun, so it operates a lot like a piston AR. It has a short gas piston with a gas block and a gas port in that. So when we rework the gas block and put in our barrel, we actually regas the system to open it up a little bit more to allow it to breathe because of the added pressures of the SD system in the porting and the barrel and the suppressor and everything. You have to make tiny minor adjustments to it. But the biggest thing with the MPX platform that I see as a benefit over the MP5 or a lot of other variants out there is the ergonomics of the MPX as opposed to an MP5. If you're used to an AR ergonomics, this is going to be like you're at home.
Yeah.
Where an MP5, if you're not used to running an MP5, you're going to have a lot of issues being efficient with that weapon. Where this, if you've trained with AR platforms, it's very user friendly. Your manipulations are exactly. You're all going to be very similar
and fully ambidextrous.
Ambidextrous parts of class.
And truthfully, in my eyes, so is an MP5. To me, an MP5 is perfectly as effective for a lefty as a righty.
Oh yeah.
Like literally, the only thing you're doing difference is I'm hooking a charging handle, and I usually just smack it. Versus, I'm on this side and doing the slap. It's literally just as effective.
What are those two motions again?
Right. It's towards my face, up, and then I hammer it.
Okay.
Right. Or towards my face and I slap
it. I gotcha.
Yeah.
But both coming towards the face.
Yeah, but then eventually I push it away.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Gotcha. Or you
Eventually.
donkey punch it.
Yeah.
Well,
It
different
just depends.
strokes. Different strokes.
It just depends on the day.
I'm just curious. I'm not left-handed.
Was it a Tuesday? Was it a Friday? I don't know what day it is. I can't tell you what I'm going to do.
I don't know what day it is today.
Yeah, I have no idea. So I mean, fuck you for the suggestion there, though, too. You know what I'm saying? Scott, welcome to the show. It's really nice to have you here today.
Thanks for having me.
Hope you don't drag down your reputation by being
No.
100% will.
here. With that said, we'll take you to our first rounds on these guns. Okay, everyone. In many ways, a moment that I dread, which is
Your bank account dreads.
yes. I've never shot an MPX. You have?
No.
No. Okay. And then Scotty's obviously shot tons of
One or
MPXs
two.
because he made them. So I've never shot an MPX. Obviously, we're kind of going straight to the deep waters here on the SDs, but this will just be super brief. We'll do a bunch of shooting and testing later in the video, but this is just some first rounds, just kind of overall first thoughts on shooting a MPX SD. And running 115s. I think you got 115s.
Yep, 115s.
I've got the K, so the shorty. What's the barrel length on this bad boy?
5.75 barrel, 8-inch suppressor.
Okay. And then Chris's is what?
6.75-inch barrel, 12-inch suppressor.
Okay. All right. I'll go K first, just since the K is probably going to be, that'll probably be even more quiet, I would assume. I'm not going to shoot steel just for comparison. Might hit steel. Let's see if I can hit steel through the paper, man. There it is. That's 2 kills. 2 kills, 1. Okay, let's hear that. Ooh, boy, that's quiet.
So on the gun, so this sounds, we'll get into it. Either way, this is freaking dope. Woo!
That's quiet.
Yeah?
Quiet. Yeah, rotate. You got a couple rounds left in that.
First off, maybe it's lost on us a little bit because we shoot suppress a lot, but both of these sound fucking awesome.
Yeah, sound great.
Yeah, really good. I would say, man, beside the gun, that's obviously more quiet. Behind the guns, they sound very, very similar. Am I wrong on that?
No, it's more of a tonal difference than anything else.
Yeah.
So suppression-wise, they're both quiet. It's the tone of the suppression that's
Hollow
slightly
crack,
different.
a little bit of a sharp crack.
Yeah.
My ears aren't ringing, are yours?
No.
Not at all.
Ears are fine. Boy, that would turn into a real debate that I guess we will have later, but a real debate in terms of, I don't know which route you would go there. A different video.
So Jake, he was telling us for this little read, we should arm wrestle. I think we all know how that's going to go.
Yeah.
So just do the read.
Utter domination by me. So if you guys are looking for ways to support the 1911 Syndicate, we're a real estate company. I know some people have a hard time really like hearing and connecting with that, but that's actually what we do. Like, you go to 1911syndicate.com, you need to buy or sell a house, you let us know, and we'll contact you, right? It may be me, maybe someone else from the company. It's actually run like a business, believe it or not. Sort of, you know, we're sort of
It's a
like
loose
a
term.
business, you know. But anyway, let us know if you need help with that. There's also the Patreon. That's a way that you can
Throw money at us.
Yeah, and believe it or not, we have a couple Patreon members out here right now. We won't show you their faces. I don't know. They could be agents of some secret organization or something. But we actually have a live studio audience today from Patreon. Freaking cool.
Pretty
Freaking
cool. Thank you,
So
gentlemen.
anyway, check that out. Back to the video. Okay, so why don't we talk, much like we did in the MP5 video, and kind of, hey, how do these start out in life, and then how do we get to this point?
Okay.
Right? That's kind of the combo.
Yeah, basically with our conversions, you buy the barrel and the suppressor conversion combo. So it comes with our suppressor, whether it's the 8-inch K or the full-size 12-inch, and then you get your barrel. Suppressor will transfer out to your FFL SOT for paperwork. All I need is the barreled upper receiver sent to me, and I'll take your stock MPX barrel out. You'll get that back. I don't have any use for it, so I send it back with the gun. We'll put in our SD barrel, which you can see here as our SD porting through the barrel, 18-1 threads in the rear, which means it's adaptable to any SD suppressor on the market.
Oh,
So
cool.
you can run a Knights can on it, you can run a B&T can. Ours is going to be quieter, but you could run all these other cans on there if you want, because it's uniform to the SD platforms as far as the rear thread and everything.
Yeah, so if someone already had an SD platform, like say they had an MP5 SD, and they wanted an MPX, they could just send you their upper, and that same can is going to transfer to both guns.
Yeah,
Wow.
they could definitely do that, or they could buy the
Yeah.
full-size can for it, and while that can is in jail waiting for approval, they can shoot their existing can on the gun.
Cool.
And that's across all the platforms. The Ks will run on all the other Ks. The full sizes will run on all the other full sizes.
Okay, cool.
So you
Very
can take
cool.
the MPX onto an AR9, onto an MP5, and they're all interchangeable between the same size platforms.
That's pretty cool.
Now, can you? So you're working on the I call it full length. It's still short. It's just not the 16-inch MPX,
Exactly.
but the 13-inch,
12-inch.
12, 13. Yeah. So could you take?
The K can and put it on the full length?
Like how much is interchangeable between the full length and the K, or are they totally different systems like the MP5? you
They're
know?
different as far as the configuration, because it's an inch shorter barrel in the K and an inch shorter blast chamber. That means you have an inch less of space for your barrel support. So basically the barrel support would sit too far down on this barrel. You can technically run a full size on a K barrel, but you have no front barrel support because it won't actually sit in the barrel support.
Okay.
I've shot them doing testing to see if it worked, and it works fine. I wouldn't suggest it for
Prolonged
long-term
use.
use,
Yeah.
but you can run it a K barrel with a full size, but you can't run the K suppressor on a full size barrel. There's just too much barrel.
Right.
You end up running into the baffles.
Yeah, it'd be very weird. Yeah, very cool. So really, someone in terms of starting a build like that, they don't even need to lower. They just need the base upper.
Yeah, base upper from Sig. We can convert any Sigs except for the copperheads. So the copperheads have a monolithic upper,
Right.
so there's no way for us to be able to put in our barrel and use the suppressor on it. But any of the other Gen 1, 2, or 3 MPXs, it doesn't matter if it has a 16-inch barrel or a 4-inch barrel. We're going to take the barrel out and replace it with ours, so you can send us any of those versions and we can turn them into an SD.
There you go.
And you, we might have touched on this in the MP5 video, but you sort of commented on the fact that these SDs will run cleaner than what people would typically associate with an SD in terms of like, hey, every 500 rounds it's gunked up and you got to, full tear down.
Yeah, so the difference in porting, I can kind of show it and you might be able to see on the video. So normal MP5 SD porting, the ports themselves are only about half of what ours are, and they're a lot closer together, so there's very little room in between them. So erosion over time, you'll erode the spaces in between your ports, causing your barrel to eventually fail. So if it fails inside of the gun while you're shooting it, your gun is pretty much toast. If not, your suppressor will be toast. So when we redesigned everything, we spaced out all of our ports to where they had plenty of room in between. Erosion would never be an issue. And then we do cold hammer forged and nitride coated barrels so that we don't have any of that possibility down the road. Just taking all the steps to make sure that the quality is there over anything else, so that this gun you can put 50,000+ rounds through, which we have test guns with 50,000+ rounds through the barrels and suppressors without any issues. We just rebuilt one of our first SD full-size suppressors last year with a little over 50,000 rounds through it. It probably could have taken another 20,000 without needing to be rebuilt.
Jesus.
That's impressive.
It's a lot different than the original design, which everything was encapsulated inside small little ports, as well as a small blast chamber that didn't flow through the rest of the can. So you'd get carbon buildup in this tiny blast chamber that would eventually envelop the whole barrel and porting, making it a non-SD because you're not getting the benefits of the ports.
Right.
So we tried to make it as user-friendly as possible without building a serviceable can.
Yeah.
So you don't have to service our cans. If you ever need the service, send it in and I'll service it free of charge. I'll rebuild the whole can, not a problem. But go out and run it and beat it up as if you borrowed it from a buddy that you don't like. Run it hard.
I thought you were going to say a hooker or something.
Oh, that too. Yeah, whatever works.
If a hooker's
Or
got
a
one of
buddy's hooker
those,
that you don't like.
she sounds like someone I need to be friends with.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, your wife doesn't watch
Oh,
the show.
yeah, dang.
So
Yeah, she doesn't watch,
cool.
so that's
We're cool. Okay, that said, we'll go back to the range here. Okay, so first test we're going to do, Chris is going to run the full length for a short gun, MPX SD, and then Scotty's going to run the K version, both on the same grain weight. This is going to be on 115s, just trying to pick up any difference in sound going from K to full length on the same ammo. So, call it when you're ready. What do you think?
This one is just marginally quieter.
It is more quiet.
There's a little less bite to the tone.
And I think the tone is a lot of what we're hearing there.
Yep.
Yeah, this one's a little bit more of a pop, or that one's more of a thud.
A hollow thud.
Yep. I think that's a really good description of it.
Cool.
Okay, up next, same exact thing, but 124s instead of 115s.
Okay.
Very similar.
See, from my perspective behind this gun, this is far more quiet than that. But again,
It is more quiet for sure.
I'm behind the gun, so the sound is gonna
and I'm
dissipate.
spacing myself off equally for both of those to try to replicate it. And
Which one?
that one's more quiet.
Yeah.
But I mean, we're talking, 10% kind of thing.
Okay.
Not which would kind of lead me at least down a path of, hey, at that point you're picking full length or K, not so much based on sound, more on length that you would want to do whatever, house cleaning or whatever with, right? Because it's like, hey, there's not going to be that much of a gap on sound difference.
Yeah.
So it's more, do you value a shorter platform? Cool. I think you got your answer.
Yeah. I mean, I think this is. I like longer guns, obviously. So this is, to me.
Yeah.
This one's just a good backpack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pull it up and throw it in a pack and go out for the day.
Yeah, no doubt. Okay, moving on. Now, for an interesting experiment, we are going to go MPX versus MP5 SD on both. So this is going to be full-length MPX versus standard full-length MP5. Both of these are on 115s, right?
Correct.
115s?
Yep.
Okay, all right.
Cool.
Curious. Huh. Okay, this is more interesting than anticipated.
Big tonal
I think I
difference.
want big tonal difference. I want to run that again because I got to tell you, my impression might have been that was more quiet. I actually
Let's do it right now.
Run
Let's do
that
it again. Okay.
I'm gonna have to say I think the MPX nudged that out.
Just
pretty close.
slightly, huh?
I think we need to do a back and forth. You one, me one,
Okay.
you
Try
one, me
that.
one. Try
Do that.
that and see.
Fascinating.
Go ahead, ladies, or Scotty first.
So from behind the gun, I was equally spaced between both you to try to not have any margin for error in it. I mean, it's very close. I swear that MPX might nudge it out.
Here, let me throw a couple rounds through this now too, just real quick. Because behind the gun, that sounds louder. That MPX sounds louder. So
I
let's
agree.
See.
Behind
Then
the
I was-
gun, that sounds louder to me.
Okay.
Oh, really?
So, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, there's the difference. There's a big difference. The tone is very different.
The
Yeah.
tone's
Yep.
very different.
Yep.
In terms of overall sound, I mean, it's a razor's edge, but that seemed to make me go, yeah, I think that's it.
This has more of a hollow tone, like we were kind of
That's
sussing
thud,
out.
low kind of.
Yeah, low, hollow thud, where this is more of a sharp crack.
Yeah. It has more of that at the initial pop.
Correct.
Especially coming through the ejection port is where I notice it shooting.
Mhm.
Where this one, you don't notice it as much shooting. That little crack coming through that port.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
so we'll
that's
do
weird.
that was on 115s. Now we'll do the same thing on 124s, just for shits and gigs, as they say.
Okay. You want us to empty these?
Yeah, just get that round out and then.
Oh no, I was gonna shoot it. I'm just looking for more excuses to shoot.
Just one.
Okay, same exact thing, standard links, but with 124s now.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel pretty comfortable now saying I think MPX
the
might
MPX.
actually nudge it out,
Mm-hmm.
which is surprising to me.
You're
I
so
didn't-
disappointed right now?
No, I
Okay.
knew that there was that difference
Variance?
between the two of them, and I've heard from different people. Everybody has a different take on it, and from a shooter perspective, you have a different view, but from an observer perspective, you have a different, view as well on the sound. So it's kind of just switching the rifles back and forth between you and I showed that we were hearing different things
Yeah.
through our, our shooter perspective of it. So that's the thing that I wanted is more getting insight from other people to hear the same things that I've heard, but nobody else has been around to go, yeah, that's right. You are right.
There you go.
So,
Yeah, well, and chime in the comments. Granted, what you hear on camera can be different than what we're experiencing in person, but chime in the comments if you guys got an opinion on it.
Yeah.
Now we'll do the same thing, but on the K models. Okay, same thing, but now we're going to swap to MP5K, MPXK. This is going to be on 115s head to head.
I'll go first.
Sure.
So, behind the gun, that sounds quieter.
To my observer ear, definitely
Okay.
MPXK. Yeah. Like that one was actually
same.
more obvious
Yeah.
than the standard link.
Okay.
Interesting. I'm so fascinated by this. I didn't think the MP5 would be able to be beat on sound suppression.
I didn't think so.
It,
Not
it
this
might
much.
be. It might be. I mean, it's not like either of these are loud. I mean, we're playing in very quiet gun territory here, but like, I'm impressed how damn quiet those MPXs are.
Yeah.
It's like magnitudes of quiet.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll do the same thing on 124s now.
Yep. Out of ammo on that one.
Yep.
So.
Funny, a tighter margin than the 115s.
Those sounded almost identical to me.
Yeah,
Like-
they're very similar. 115s definitely had a lot more.
Yeah, it was distinguishable. The 124 is very tight, very tight. It's fascinating the difference in ammo.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's like 115 to 124. It's
they're
like
9 grains difference.
Yeah, it's not that different.
Oh, especially when there's 7,000 grains in a pound. There's not a whole lot of difference.
Did any of you know that? None of you knew that.
Science.
This guy's a smart man, is what that is. What is it? 7,000.
7,000 grains in a pound.
So if I eat a pound of beef, that's 7,000 grains of beef.
Yeah. It's like 10 rounds of 50. Well, projectiles at least.
I can't do it. Now you lost me. That's
projectiles.
too much math now. Okay, everyone. So to kind of close out the show here, I feel like MP5 versus MPX is one of those debates that is often around. And for those that don't know, the MPX name comes from what?
Yeah, it was supposed to be the MP5 killer. So MPX being 10, twice as good as MP5.
Twice the MP5
is what they were going for.
Hey, it's clever.
It's
I
clever.
actually I
It
like
is.
it. I have
Marketing.
no issue with that. That's good marketing.
I like stuff like that, like the GHM,
Yeah, GHM, fantastic.
right?
You know,
To
great name.
Scorpion Killer, right?
Yep, Gram Stopper Mouse.
Yep.
But, you know, if we look at MP5 versus MPX and we try to assess that argument a little bit in terms of, I'm really not a believer unless there's clear, definitive, it's not really debatable. I'm not a believer that, like, in the this or that argument.
Yeah.
Because you totally negate the, is it possible that both are great? You know, like, what,
Which
why
is
does it
usually
have
the
to-
case.
Yeah, why does it have to be this or that? But if we look at this not so much as a this or that, and hey, which gun is for which guy or gal? Like who fits into an MPX? Who fits into an MP5? What do you think? Because I've got my thoughts on this, and I'm feeling we're pretty close.
Yeah, I think the novice beginning shooter would be a lot more comfortable on the MPX than the MP5.
fair.
MP5
Just
is
from Manual of Arms.
Yeah, just the sheer ease of use and ergonomics of it is a little bit more comfortable. It's a lot lighter weight. That's
sure.
the biggest thing that I've noticed is this being all aluminum design and the MP5 being all steel.
Yeah.
There's quite a bit of weight difference. Those are the two biggest factors, I think, when it comes down to normal people running them. They're going to be a lot more comfortable with a lot lighter, more maneuverable weapon. That the ergonomics and the movements on it are easier.
Well, I mean, I would say, you know, a lot of people are afraid to learn a new manual of arms. Like they're going to get some sort of disease if they have to learn a new skill.
Or they'll
today.
forget the stuff that they knew before.
Yeah, it's like, you understand, like I've got a lot of different shit, and many of them have different manuals of arms. Like, you can be competent with a lot of different stuff without even that much time to keep it up. Like, it's not really that complicated. So one, get over the, like, different manual of arms. Like, so fucking learn a new manual of arms. Like, it's not that hard. But, like, well, I mean, what do you think? MP5, MPX, like, who's in which camp there? Which gun's for which guy?
So MP5 would be for the historical guys that want some nostalgia, that maybe there's a new updated MP5, thanks to you, right, with some advancements in it. MPX would be the guys that want the AR style, much like me when it comes to ARs versus AKs. I'm strictly ARs, right? Like, I see benefits to both for different guys. Coming up the mountain today, because we're up in northern Arizona, I thought I'd be like, those MPXs, they'll be all right. But I'm such an MP5 fan that, I don't know, man. Those run really good. They shoot tremendously well. They're more lightweight. The manual of arms, like, it's kind of a toss-up for me personally.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. No, I agree. I definitely agree. Hey, if you're a dude or a girl for that matter, I'm saying dude because statistically like 98% of you that watch channel are dudes, 99.2 last time I checked. So for the one female watching, welcome. But it's like, hey, if you like, put it this way, if you're a 1911 guy, you're definitely going to be an MP5 guy. Because you probably have an appreciation for things that are a little bit more historically interesting, maybe in some eyes outdated, but it's like, no, because you can update the outdated thing by making it a 2011 or cleaning up the MP5 or whatever it is. But it's like, hey, if you're if you're AR and Glock guy, you're probably an MPX guy. Generally speaking.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's a good argument for that.
Yeah, because it fits within your wheelhouse of the things you already do. It's like
You're skirting on like FUD territory real quick. Because you're like 1911 for an MP5. 1911s are generally reserved for kind of fuddy type guys.
some would argue that about an MP5. I don't think
That's
it's a
what I'm saying.
relevant
The
argument.
1911 with the
I
MP5.
think we share. I think there's probably a cross section there of like people that like those platforms. I put it this way: if you're an Apple Watch guy, MPX all day.
If you're a good, like, true automatic, maybe Swiss-made, nice wristwatch, you're probably going MP5.
You're an MP5 guy. Yeah.
Now I understand.
Yeah.
Use
right?
the watch analogy for now on.
Get where I'm going?
Yeah.
If you enjoy tofu
With his Apple Watch.
It's not an Apple Watch, it's a Garmin.
I know, but it's an Apple Watch.
It's close.
like if you get the vegan beef where it's like beef with like an E at the end of the F, it's like you're an MPX guy. If you're like, give me a fucking steak, bro, I'd get an MP5.
Okay.
Yeah.
Those are aggressive analogies right there.
What, vegans? And
Well, yeah, you're going to
MPXs?
piss off some vegan gun guy that watches the channel.
Who is
probably
the
owns a bunch of
vegan
MP5s.
watching this channel?
I mean, there's someone out there in the comments. Let us know.
And this will be their last video.
Blocked.
This is their final showing.
Next video, we eat steaks.
Yes, actually not that far off. So anyway, I don't know. That's my 2 cents. This is cool. I will say this. I was nervous shooting the MPX, not because I thought I wouldn't like it. I was actually afraid I was going to like it too much, and I did very much enjoy it. And it's definitely a gun that I would personally like gladly own, you know?
Well, I got a guy for you.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Like it's a lot of fun to shoot.
Yeah, they are, especially the suppressed version with the SD. The traditional suppressed is fun.
Yeah.
This is just a different level of fun.
Yeah.
It's almost movie.
It's a more quiet level.
Yeah, just more enjoyable. You can have a conversation while you're shooting,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and
Which we
without
did.
having to break conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah. And apologies to the vegans watching this.
Oh, you feel bad for once?
I don't know if I offended anyone. Probably not. Chris gave me one of those like, ooh, I don't know about that one. I was like, did we piss vegans off today?
Oh, did I? Oh.
No, I don't know.
Oh, I didn't.
I say plenty of offensive things where you're like, ooh, like
Yeah,
I can feel the
Like tone it back a little?
the sting. Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, and at the same time, I'm not sorry for it.
Perfect.
I'd say it all over again. Boys.
Perfect.
Okay. With that said, that seems like a very positive note to take you to these final messages.
So, Jake, while you're putting your belt on, say you were to get in a self-defense scenario and you had to use that belt, what would you want?
I would need some form of protection.
Well, the protection that I'm going to offer you is probably a different one than you thought. This is concealed carry or self-defense insurance. From Firearms Legal Protection.
Yes, I've heard of them.
They protect you if you're ever in a self-defense scenario, whether it's with firearms, a rock, a belt. When you call after said scenario, guess who you don't talk to?
I don't want a customer service rep.
That's not who you're getting. You're getting
thank
an
God.
actual attorney/lawyer. Right? Now, our code 1911 saves you about a third off each package. What packages do they offer, Jake?
You've got one like me, which is for a dude that mostly stays in his own state and is not
house.
married and house and with no children or siblings or anything like that. It sounds sad. It's not. It's an exciting story. But then they've got a version for people like you.
Because I'm married.
Yeah.
And I often travel for all of my work.
Good for you.
So as long as I am in those states legally, carrying concealed legally, and I get in a self-defense scenario in that state legally, I'm covered.
yeah.
FLP are the guys you want to go with. Again, our code will save you about a third off. Check them out.